So I want to introduce you today our special Christmas offering, and it's called the Be a Light Christmas Offering, okay? And what we're going to do for 2022 is we're going to focus on being a light. We're going to focus on being a light in our community. Now, if you call Vaughn Forest Church home, a Christmas offering is nothing new. You're kind of used to this, but maybe you're new. Maybe you've joined Vaughn Forest in the last year. You've recently started attending Vaughn Forest. So let me kind of set the context a little bit of what a Christmas offering is, and then we're going to begin to unpack it and tie it into what it means to be a light and see how the Holy Spirit is the one who empowers us to do this. For our Christmas offering, which we're officially launching today, it's an opportunity to sacrificially give above your regular tithes and offerings between now and January 31st. So we've got a couple of months that you'll have the opportunity to give to this special Christmas offering, and it is a sacrificial gift, okay? So regular tithes and offerings, obedient giving, sacrificial giving is above and beyond regular tithes and offerings. And it's really important to make that distinction. And it's also important to see on the front end as we're launching this offering that it's not about equal giving, it's about equal sacrifice. Not everyone who calls Vaughn Forest home can give equally to this offering. That's okay. But everybody can give sacrificially equally. So for some folks, that may mean, hey, during the Christmas offering, I'm going to cut out eating out in restaurants, and I'm going to take that money that I would have spent in restaurants, and I'm going to give it to the sacrificial offering. For others, there might be some money that they could contribute that will stretch them, be a little bit more of a cost, and it would actually be a larger amount than someone else who can give. Again, it's not about equal giving, it's about equal sacrifice. But what we want to look at this year is how we can be a light in our immediate Jerusalem, Judea, Samaria, and the ends of the earth. Why? So that people can experience salvation. I feel like the Lord has placed on my heart that 2022 is the year that a bunch of people need to meet Him as their Savior. I think the last 18 to 24 months has really shaken people to the core. I think there are a lot of people who had placed their hope in a lot of things and they've watched those things go away. I think there are a lot of people who are emotionally distraught. I think there are a lot of people who have continued to look to find hope in a number of different places and they're not finding it. And I am praying, and I believe the Lord has placed on my heart that 2022 is going to be the year that a bunch of people meet Jesus. A bunch of people meet Jesus. And our role in that church is to be a light, to point them to Jesus. Vaughn Forest Church is not a light, okay? Jesus is the light, and we're one of the churches. He's placed us here to point people to Him, and the way we do that is by being a light. So the 5 ministry initiatives that our special offering is going to go to this year are going to sync up with this verse. They're going to sync up with what it looks like for us to actually be a light. So we've got 5 initiatives that the special offering is going to go to, and I want to begin to walk you through those today. So here's the first one. In 2022, we want to be a light in our immediate community of East Montgomery and Pike Road by sharing and showing the love of Jesus. This is our Jerusalem. Background, Vaughn Forest Church. We were planted in 1994. Many of you know this, some of you may not. Planted in 1994 by First Baptist Montgomery. Pastor Jay Wolf, who was the pastor at that time, and their leadership team, they had the vision to see the growth that was going to come to this area. Everything that is the East Chase area, everything that is now kind of called East Montgomery, they recognized that there needed to be a church, a gospel presence out there, and they sent people from First Baptist Montgomery to plant this church. Everything that we do, we stand on their shoulders. And I challenged you guys about a month ago to pray for them. They've been going through a difficult season. They had the arsonist set fire to their building, and it's been a challenging season. Mark, the pastor there now, he and I text a lot and pray for them. We've offered to help and send them furniture, whatever they need. And God's moving that church and still doing an amazing ministry in and through them. But they sent us here. So our immediate Jerusalem is the immediate close vicinity, proximity to our church. So if you don't go to church, typically, you won't go to a church unless it's within about 15 minutes of where you live. There's lots of studies that show that. So if we're about a mile further down the road, we would actually be in Pike Road. We're barely in Montgomery. So what does that mean? We also reach a lot of people who live in Pike Road. And if you live in Pike Road, you know the growth that's happening in Pike Road. There are literally right now hundreds of homes that are being built in Pike Road. Pike Road is one of the fastest growing communities in our entire state. People are moving there in droves. The schools can't keep up with the growth. We just passed an initiative about a month ago to build another school, okay? So there are lots of people who live in Pike Road. There are lots of people who live in East Montgomery. They don't have a church home. They don't know Jesus. And in 2022, we want to be a light, and we want to be a light by both sharing and showing them the love of Jesus. in very practical ways, doing that with no strings attached. Many of you have already served in the Pike Road schools. We do that through Love Week. And we continue to serve, and we continue to do different things. Last weekend, we had a bunch of people from our church at the Pike Road Arts Festival who are serving. So we're just amping up the opportunities that God has given us to continue to share the love of Jesus, show the love of Jesus, serve the people in our immediate Jerusalem so that we can be a light. And part of what you give to the Be a Light special Christmas offering will go to that. Number two, second initiative. We want to be a light in our extended community of West Montgomery through Mercy House. This is our Judea. This is more of a regional component. Now, West Montgomery is not too far down the road, but in many ways, if you live in West Montgomery and you need to meet Jesus and you need a church, probably not going to come all the way out here. If they do, that'd be fantastic. But what we wanted to do was partner with somebody who'd been making a difference in that part of our community for many years, and that is Mercy House and Pastor Ken Austin. We began a partnership with them last year. We want to continue that partnership into 2022, and we want to be a light to the people of West Montgomery. And for many of you, that will mean going down there and serving in different opportunities. They've recently moved into the old WSFA building. They're still figuring out how to outfit that to meet their purposes for what they do in ministry. We get to help them with that. We will continue to financially contribute to that ministry. Why? Because we believe we've been called to be a light, not just in Jerusalem, but in Judea as well. Let me give you the third initiative for our special offering. We want to be a light through our ESL ministry with the individuals from all over the world that God has brought to us. That is our Samaria. What's ESL? English as a second language. Some of you may know this, some of you may not, but on Sunday nights here on our campus, we have a thriving ESL ministry. Did you know that there are literally thousands of people in the river region, Montgomery, Pike Road, all around, who have moved here from all over the world, and their most pressing need is to learn English? It's one of the greatest opportunities we have to actually share the gospel message. I learned this years ago, a long time ago, when I was a college pastor. Morgan, my wife and I, we would take college students to Slovakia in Eastern Europe. You ever been to Slovakia? It's a beautiful place. You should vacation there, okay? We would go there to teach high school students English. There were missionaries who were there, and they had partnered with locals who loved Jesus, and they started English clubs. And the only thing they needed were Americans that could teach English. And I had a bunch of college students who had recently met Jesus who did not consider themselves missionaries. And so I said, we're going to go on a mission trip. They're like, God could never use me to be on a mission trip. I said, can you speak English? They're like, not well. I said, good enough, right? So we would take them to try to expand their perspective and horizon and see how God could use them. And so I saw firsthand what an amazing opportunity just simply being able to speak English gives to sharing the gospel. That's happening here on our campus. Before COVID, there were a number of ESL opportunities in our community. During COVID, they all shut down. We were the first church, the first organization, for that matter, to offer ESL post-March of 2020. And we started it a little over a year ago through Zoom. It was online only. Greg and Karen Lipscomb, a couple in our church who leads this ministry, they said, hey, can we just start something doing it on Zoom? Like, absolutely. It started small on Zoom. People found out about it. They started joining it. This fall, we moved it onto our campus on Sunday evenings, and God's continuing to use it. And here's what I want you to see for a second. In a time where it is incredibly challenging to take the gospel message to the ends of the earth, and I've talked with you guys about that. It is hard to plan mission trips right now. We're going to do one in Mexico in March. There's an information meeting today, immediately after the 11 o'clock service about that. So we're not stopping, okay? And I shared last week, we can do this trip a little easier because we can fly into San Diego and we can go down to Mexico and then we can go back to San Diego and fly back. And that matters with all of the COVID restrictions flying in and out of countries. In a time where it is very difficult to fulfill Acts 1:8, take the gospel message to the ends of the earth, God has literally brought the ends of the earth to us. It's incredible. Not every community can say that. We can. And we're going to be a light to the people that God has brought to us by meeting their most pressing need, learning English, and using that as a way to point them to Jesus. I'm really excited about that, all right? Number fourth initiative. In 2022, we want to be a light every single Sunday with everything that happens on our campus. Next generation ministries, worship services, guest services, and this is for everyone in our Jerusalem, Judea, Samaria. That's what's so awesome about what we do here on Sundays, whether it's on campus or whether it's online. When we have worship services, everyone from those first three categories that I just spoke to, they're welcome to show up. They're welcome to join us online. That's what we want. We love that. But here's the thing I really want us to remember in this upcoming year, church, and we all know this, but every now and then I think it's helpful just to say it. Every single Sunday, whether here on our campus or online, someone is joining us who is giving God one more shot. They're giving the church one more shot. Maybe they were burned by a church in the past. Maybe God hasn't come through for them like they hoped he would. Maybe this last year has been tough. Maybe they're walking through a divorce. Maybe they just found out some news from one of their teenagers that they were not expecting, nor did they want to hear. Maybe they just got a cancer diagnosis. Maybe just name it. There are people who are giving God one last chance. That happens every single Sunday. Did you know that? You may not know that because you may not hear from those folks like I do, whether it's after a service or whether it's an email during the week. But there are people who are hurting. And every single Sunday, for lack of a better phrase, we just want to be ready. We want to be ready to point people to Jesus every single Sunday. We want to be a light. And I'm really grateful that we are being a light every single Sunday through the things that I listed up here, our next generation ministries. I mean, our children's ministry is growing like crazy. We're literally having to add rooms about once a month. You say add rooms, what does that mean? Well, you can only fit so many of those boogers in one room, right? And then you got to add another room to put some in the other room. There's a lot of them, okay? That's great news. Our student ministry is growing. And then our worship services, and there's a lot of things. And what we're going to do over the next 2 months is we're going to share with you specifically what does that mean? What does it mean for part of what I give to this Christmas offering to go to help us continue to be a light every single Sunday? We're going to lay that out for you. There's just a number of things that need to happen here on our campus, and we want to tackle them over the next 2 months. And we're going to do that with your giving to this offering. So I'm really excited as we'll begin to unpack those for you over the next couple of months. Finally, number 5. 2022, last initiative, we want to be a light to the children who we are adopting in a village in Peru through Compassion International. And this is how tangibly we're going to fulfill Acts 1:8 to the ends of the earth. So let me take a moment to explain this, okay? So Compassion International, maybe you've heard of them, maybe you haven't. They're an organization that is literally in countries all over the world. When I was growing up as a kid, we sponsored a Compassion Child. My wife Morgan and I have sponsored a Compassion Child now for over a decade. And there's a number of organizations that do a fantastic job. But I'm a big fan of Compassion because they work through the local church. We're going to hear some stories over the next couple months from some individuals whose lives have been changed through compassion. In other words, they were a compassion child and now they're an adult. They're going to share their story. We're going to be sharing some of the stories with you. But if you're a compassion child and you get sponsored, wherever you live in the world, you have to go to that local church to receive the meal. Go to the local church to receive the education. Go to the local church to hear the Bible being taught and to learn about Jesus. And when a child finds out that they have been sponsored by compassion, it literally in a moment changes the trajectory of their life. They go from being in a home with 3 kids who get to go to school every 3rd day because there's only 1 pair of shoes to being a kid who gets to go to school every day because now there's 3 pair of shoes. That's the immediate change that getting sponsored brings to these children's lives. And what Compassion started doing about 7 or 8 years ago, and I've kind of followed this from a distance because I was curious to see how this would work because I thought it was a fantastic idea. And now 7, 8 years later, there's a number of churches that have done this and it's going really, really well. Is they'll go into a village and they will identify the need, and then they will come to a church and they will say, you have the opportunity to sponsor the kids from this village. Now, let me tell you why that matters. If you were to go maybe to like a Christian concert, okay? Sometimes at a Christian concert, someone will come out from Compassion and they'll pass out some packets. You could sponsor a child, and I think that's fantastic. But what we have the opportunity to do is sponsor kids who all live in the same place. They all live in the same place. So what that means is that we can adopt these children and overnight change the future trajectory of their life for $38 a month. For $38 a month, you can adopt a child that will change the future trajectory of their life. And then at some point, I am claiming this by faith, we're going to go to that village, okay? That's our village. So we're going to go to that local church and we're going to sit down with the ministry leaders there and say, hey, what do you need? That looks like that roof needs some repair. We'll send a team down here to repair that roof. Hey, what do you need? You need a new well? We'll find somebody who knows how to dig a well. I don't know how to dig a well, but I'll find somebody who does. We'll send them down there. We'll send a team to do a VBS down there every single Sunday. This will become our village. We will adopt this village. And here's where that gets really exciting. You'll get to meet your kid. You'll get to meet your kid. The kid that Morgan and I have been sponsoring for over a decade, he lives in Haiti. We don't have a way to go physically meet him. We will have an opportunity to do that now through partnering with Compassion and sponsoring all these kids in Peru. So it's going to be awesome. Now, the other thing that's going to be really cool is we're going to have an opportunity coming up here in just a few weeks for you to literally get to go through an experience of what it actually looks like to live in a place that requires someone to step in and sponsor you. Okay? It's called a Compassion Journey Experience, and you get to walk through this and see what it's like. So before I kind of give you the details of what that's going to look like here at Von Forest, I want you to take a look at this video that kind of explains that. So take a look at this.
This gives families a chance to see poverty from the perspective of a child living on less than $2 a day.
It's a very emotional experience to walk through this and hear all about their living conditions, how small of a house that they live in, the fact that they might not have food on the table.
It shows us reality and it gives us a perspective of what really is going on.
I've never seen anything like this.
It's absolutely humbling to know what's happening in the world, but knowing that we can do something about it.
It's going to move you, it's going to touch your heart, and you're going to be a new person.
So we're going to have the opportunity to do that. Let me put some dates up here for you so you can go ahead and start putting these on your calendar. The Compassion Journey Experience is going to be happening here on our campus the weekend of Saturday, December 4th and Sunday, December 5th. So what you just saw in that video, our East Auditorium is going to be set up that way. So it's going to be a completely interactive experience where you'll have the opportunity to walk through and see what it's like to live in this village in Peru, for lack of a better term, what these kids are facing every single day. So let me tell you how this will work tangibly. You can see Saturday, December 4th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. here on our campus. Now I know that's the day of the SEC championship, which is why we're wrapping it up at 3 p.m. because my team's in the game. All right, so that's how that's going to work, all right? So we're wrapping it up at 3 p.m., but it'll be a great opportunity to come up here on our campus on a Saturday. Now a lot of you do a lot of things on Sundays. It will be available on Sunday, but you may not be able to get through it on a Sunday with as much time as you like. So Morgan and I, we will bring our 3 boys up here that Saturday, okay? Because we want to take our time. We want to walk them through it. And listen, if you have kids, if you have grandkids, I don't know why you would not walk them through this. I mean, how many gifts do they have to ask for in the Christmas season? Am I the only parent wondering that these days? I'm going to bring my kids through this, and let me tell you what we're going to do when we're done. We're going to get on our knees, and we're going to thank God for what we take for granted. I'm going to walk them through it. I'm going to challenge them to see the world beyond the blessings that they experience every day. And let me challenge you, if you have kids or grandkids, you better be doing the same thing with them. Choose Saturday or choose Sunday. It doesn't matter to me. Whatever day works for you. Sunday, you can do it, right? You're late to the message because you were out there with your kids and you were praying in the lobby. Cool, you get a pass, all right? But I want you to take them through it, all right? Then on Sunday, December 5th, here's the deal. That's going to be our Compassion Sunday. And here's the challenge. Here's the goal. And I talked to them about a month ago, and they said, how many kids do you think your church can sponsor? I said, let's go for 100. And then they were like, how many people are you running? And I told them, like, you can't do 100. I go, oh, well, you just insured we'll do 100, right? Don't tell me I can't do something. So I committed to 100. So what's going to happen on Sunday, December 5th is there's going to be tables out here in our lobby. There's going to be packets. There's going to be 100 different kids from this village in Peru, and I'm challenging you to sponsor one. I'm not challenging you to choose how many, okay? You pray about that. It's $38 a month. So what that looks like in our house is we're going to sponsor 3 because I want each of my boys to develop a relationship with them. They're going to write letters back and forth. And then eventually, by faith, I'm claiming I'm going to fly them down there and they're going to get to meet that kid. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be an incredible opportunity for our family to be involved in global missions in a season where I can't put them on a plane. Okay? I don't know what season I can put them on a plane without COVID restrictions. But I'm not going to worry about that. I want to go ahead and develop a global heart in them now, and compassion is going to be the way that we do that, okay? Now, we're going to keep the packets out until they're all gone. So December 5th is like the day we're really pushing for, but then technically you've got to the end of January to decide, if you want to sponsor the child through compassion, okay? So this is awesome, right? So what are our 5 initiatives? Are we paying attention, right? We got Jerusalem. So we're going to show the love of Jesus in unprecedented ways here locally, East Montgomery, Pike Road, right? Judea, Mercy House, Pastor Ken Austin. ESL, English as a second language. Everything we do here, every single Sunday. And then finally, compassion, sponsoring these kids in Peru with the hopes and the plans to eventually go down there, down the road in the future. So here's what all that means for our offering this year. Here's the goal, $200,000. And I think we can do it. I think we can do it, church. Last year, our special Christmas offering brought in $150,000, okay? So I think we need to be stretched. If your faithfulness and sacrificial giving brought $150,000 this past year that was used for gospel initiatives, I believe we can be stretched in this new year for $200,000, okay? So that's the goal. Between now and January 31st, that is the goal to give. So let me get real practical for a second, and then I'm going to leave you with a challenge. Practically speaking, when you get ready to give, if you go on our website or if you use the app, you'll see that you can give the general offering like you typically would, but you'll also see now there's an opportunity to give to the Be a Light special Christmas offering. If you prefer to use our offering envelopes when you give that are here on campus, during this season, just know that anything you mark, missions and other, it's going to go to the Be a Light special Christmas offering. So that's kind of tangibly how you can choose to do that when you're ready.